Politics midweek update. It's a big Thursday. We are going big. The campaign season in full swing. We're going to do these a little bit more often now that we're rolling. But I thought no guests today. We're just going to straight up midweek update. We're going to take your questions. We're going to start off with a little breaking news. We're going to your questions. We're going to do about 20 minutes here, so that probably means 30. Long-winded rural Missouri storytellers. We get that away. Got to thank. Look at this, Kretschmar. This is actually this in Germany. Even the meat companies promote their meat with a Stein. All right, let's start off here. Something you've seen. I got 3 questions about this. Flat Dog is a little divish. He doesn't want to. He wants to wait like he's the big dog in the main event. So I'm going to be the undercard here, and we'll get Diva Doug in here in a minute. I have the complaint that was filed against John R. Ashcroft, which was John Ashcroft's son, Jay Ashcroft. So here it was filed, the Division of Professional Registration, that is ran by Sheila Sloan. But I mean, when I say she doesn't like sign off on these things exactly. It's a board. It goes to the Board of Architects, Professional Engineers, Professional Land Surveyors, and Professional Landscape Architects. It is here in Jeff City over on Missouri Boulevard. You know, I'm a downtown guy. I think they should build more office buildings and put it down here, but that's just my opinion. Okay, the complaint, it's against him. Lists his address. That might be his real address, so I don't really want to say that out loud because that, yeah. This and I think the other people that have reported on this every day, Kelton's about to put a story up. To my knowledge, the person is not registered to practice, which is true. Jay Ashcroft is not registered to practice engineering. He is saying it's fraud and dishonest. The people that are damaged are all engineers. Here's the deal. I have no idea. My gut tells me this. Jay Ashcroft's life experience is not what Mike Kehoe's is. That's just real. One guy's dad was U.S. Attorney General. One guy's dad left when he was 3. And the part about Jay Ashcroft, why he gets support is because he does not come off like he's a self-made man. He would be the least self-made man that I personally could text in my phone. But he doesn't put off airs like he is. Jay will even joke about it in his engineer way of that he's benefited from his dad because he knows it. Everyone knows it. Why? And he doesn't put on. So Jay Ashcroft is an engineer. He completed the state's greatest engineering college is in Rolla. It used to be UMR, University of Missouri Rolla. Now it's University of Missouri S&T. It is a crown jewel of this state. It is an amazing, amazing university. If you complete an engineering degree from Rolla, even this is probably one of the lowest end ones, right? I think even Jay said something like, and one of the stories everybody said, I just wanted to do the thing to get me out of school. I can understand that, but this is one of the low end engineering degrees you can get at Rolla. However, any engineering degree at Rolla is a legit deal. Rolla is a incredibly. Nobody understands how prestigious. I still call it UMR, but Missouri S&T is. It is an absolute world-class school for engineering. Now, you get a history degree there. Okay, maybe not, but in engineering, that it is top of the top. So Jay Ashcroft does have a degree in it, and I guess but here's the thing. I've read through this. When you get a degree, right? You can become an engineer. Like whatever degree you get, you can kind of get your in architecture, they call it your seal. I wonder if engineers have a seal that they put on their plans. I don't know, something like that. Before you can actually do it on your own, you have to work under someone for 4 years. And it looks to me like he wouldn't work for somebody for years. And you're the legal term the state of Missouri uses at a person who's got a degree, but while they're building up their requisite experience so they can become an engineer themselves, which is also what companies use, is an engineer intern. He would have legally been an engineer intern. Then it looks like he left the job where he was an engineer intern, and then he taught at St. Louis Community College, and he taught some engineering classes. Kelton, you wrote the story. Am I kind of on thing?
Yes.
So he taught some classes at a community college. Shout out to Ryan McKenna. How stoked is McKenna going to be that he's now former colleagues with Jay Ashcroft? This is going to be sweet. If I'm texting him that, he'll be thrilled. But I do think that that he did teach there. It's a community college, so tell all your 13th grade jokes or whatever you want to tell. But that's, it is one of the top community colleges in the Midwest. They do a lot of great things, and Jay Ashcroft helped teach some guys. It sounded like they were going to work at one of the automobile factories. It's kind of like Sales Community College has a lot of partnerships with big companies to train their employees and train new employees. Sounds like that's what he was working in. Good honest work. Then when then his dad is United States Attorney General, it looks like he was smart enough to figure out, I think I'll go be a lawyer now, like my dad, because my dad used to be the top lawyer, the general of all the lawyers in the country. So that's probably a good gig. I wouldn't want to work for my dad. It is a long day at the office, and I would assume working for John Ashcroft Sr. is a long day at the office. I would not think that would be if my dad was John Ashcroft, working for him probably would be lucrative. Boy, that'd be a long day at work. So he did that. So his campaign it's based off being an engineer. There's a guy like his campaign manager or whatever, the Stratus consultant, is from Michigan. There was a guy that was called One Tough Nerd. He went and tackled some of Michigan's issues. It was a successful campaign. The guy was very popular. He went on to, I don't know if that guy was an engineer or not, but I could maybe see where Jason might have thought, okay, I'm going to tie into that. John Jay, we'll just call him Jay Ashcroft, knocks you down. And Jay, I've told you this. If you talk to Jay, he does not come off like a lawyer, right? Jay Ashcroft and Chuck Hatfield do not come off like the same personality. Zell Fisher, Judge Russell, Mark Ellinger. Jay comes off like engineers, I know. So his personality does kind of dovetail with that of an engineer. If you've ever wondered why he doesn't kind of sound like as smooth as some other folks, well, he sounds smooth for an engineer, right? And that's kind of that's been my take. So I think it comes down to this. Look, will the board officially sanction him? I don't know. I doubt it. Because here's the thing. This board doesn't even meet until August 6th of all things. I mean, holy cow, Kelton. Did Jay luck out or what?
That's definitely some timing.
And trust me, before maybe Flat Doug is a conspiracy theorist. Maybe there's a conspiracy here. But I'll just tell you, I don't think I think that these meetings are set way in advance. That's the one thing Sheila, I don't know how much control she has, but Sheila runs a tight ship. If Sheila's in charge of it, it's going to run like a Swiss watch. I bet you all of that stuff is booked way in advance and meetings set a long time out. Because especially in the summertime, you got vacations. If you're on that board, you got to plan around. So that it just so happens that this complaint will begin to be adjudicated August 6th. Essentially, they're saying you're telling the state, you're telling people you're an engineer, and you're not. And so I guess it's kind of like this. Is Jill Biden a doctor? She's got a doctorate degree, but should she call herself a doctor? No, probably not. Is Jay Ashcroft now, or has he ever been an engineer? I guess kinda, but is he like a guy that actually is out designing bridges and stuff? No, he's not. And apparently never has been. He worked at an engineering company a little bit, and he taught it at a community college. Is that enough to have a legal complaint come back at you? I doubt it. Is it a reasonable thing to say maybe you're padding the resume a little? You're not exactly the engineer you purport yourself to be. Yeah, I think in the broader context of politics, it's a little embarrassing. And I think there was a lot of folks that like to jump on Jay. They like to give him a hard time. And it's not just sucking up to Kehoe. I think there's a frustration amongst Republicans of anything establishment and status quo. And I think that names that we would use to just elect, no problem. I think Trump has created a anti everything that's happened, everything that's happening, and he pushes back. And so my take would be that he is my take would be that the Ashcroft name, no name has what it used to have. So that's it. I would just say, I think kind of like if you think Joe Biden should be called Dr. Joe Biden, then you probably should say Jay Ashcroft should be Engineer Jay Ashcroft. If you want to give a creative title to those creative license to some of those titles, yeah, is the bare bones. Can he make a case as an engineer? I think he can. Can you, with the same latitude of argument, could you make a case that he probably shouldn't? Yes, I think you can. Just my take. Tonight, I'm going to be at the Moag dinner. The poor folks, Tony Benz and my buddies, going to have to listen to me talk. If you're down there at Camden on the Lake around, what time's that thing start? Starts around 5. If you're down at Camden on the Lake around 4 o'clock, you just text me. I'll be having a beer there at the hotel bar. I try to never give a speech totally sober. I wouldn't want to do that to anyone. Number 2, got a question here. Give me the race breakdown on the governor's race. Appreciate that, Jeremy. I'll give you a good way. Ashcroft is sinking. If I'm that campaign, I'm worried. I'm not panicked, but I'm in between worried and a little bit panicked. Not even for where the race is at July 11th, but the trend lines are not what you want to see. If I'm Eigel, I'm like, and I think the trial lawyers, here's another piece of breaking news, going to give him some more money. It's going to show up tomorrow probably. On the 48-hour reports. I'd say at least by the start of the week, there's going to be another chunk of trial lawyer money coming in. The trial lawyers, I told you, Kelton, did I not rewind the tape? Did I not tell folks they were going to put $500,000 in and see how he did?
That sounds like what you said.
And I think they put $500,000 in and have kind of seen what he did, and they liked it, so they're going to go in for some more. And I've told you, Bill Eigel could win this race. I think Bill Eigel will come in second if he doesn't come in first. But I think he hasn't been hit yet. And if I'm Kehoe, Ashcroft's numbers are trending down. He's trending up slowly. Eigel's picking up, but again, Eigel picked up a lot of the votes that Kehoe pulled off Ashcroft. So I think what you're going to see now, the logical move, if you're Kehoe, you have the money to do about whatever you want. Bill has to be, it's tough for him. As you could tell, remember the Spider-Man thing? Jay Ashcroft's hitting Mike Kehoe while trying to boost himself. Bill Eigel's just like, I'm talking about me. He's like, you go get him, Jay. You go hit Kehoe. I'm just going to talk about me. I'm going to try to come up. And I think you're seeing between him focusing on building himself, catching some of the Ashcroft votes that Kehoe's chipping away. I think Bill's got momentum, but he is further behind. People just frankly don't know who Bill is. And I know in the internet community, you're going to argue with that, but there's if you're Jim Lemke, this is your plan. Like I told you, there's a lot of things Kehoe needed to have happen. A lot of them are happening. And a lot of things Jim Lemke would have wanted for the Eigel campaign to have happen, and Sophie and Bill, they're happening. Some of those things are happening. But like the boxes you have to check for Kehoe to win. So there's 10 things Kehoe needed to win. Probably 8 of them are happening or in the process of happening or trending towards happening. If you're Eigel of those 10 things, maybe 2 of them were happening. Now maybe 4 of them are happening. And you can see it, and it's a building block. The more credibility he gets, the more money he'll get. The one thing I think you're going to see coming this week is they're going to hit him. I mean, Kehoe's got money to hit him. I'm going to give you a Stein of Knowledge prediction right now. Mike Kehoe will have a monster quarter, and it's not going to be what you think. Mike Kehoe is going to have so many $2,800 checks. It's going to boggle your mind. I don't think the state of Missouri has ever seen the volume of max candidate committee checks. And again, the candidate committee buys rate at a special legally discounted price, the lowest common rate that the station sells. The PAC buys it at the highest rate. In some markets, it could be 25% of that high rate. Why are you seeing Wassinger do well and have more impressions than like a Huff? Even though Huff's spending the same amount, Huff is buying it from the PAC. Wassinger's buying it. He's just putting his own money in for the most part, so we could buy it at candidate rate. It's a big advantage. Kehoe's going to be able to buy a lot of candidate committee stuff. You will see that story up by Kelton in a moment. So that's kind of, I see the race like this. You have the First Baptist Church of fill in the Farmington, wherever. Those are Ashcroft folks, Missouri Right to Life and all that, kind of your traditional Republican evangelicals. The Catholics are for Kehoe, and the megachurch people are for Eigel. And I think that's about, if you want to know where the race is, that's where the race is. And a lot of the folks that are that don't live and die with this are also for Ashcroft, for Kehoe, because he's done the most marketing to those people. Bill has the message folks want. It is, I will give you everything and I will charge you nothing for it. And everybody else is a jerk but me. And they lie and I don't. And I have none of these problems are my fault and I'm going to solve them all. And you're going to say, oh, you're being tough on Bill. No, that's every politician to a certain extent. Bill just knows how to sell that message. And if they want the truth, that's what Missouri voters want. They want that message. If Bill has the money to get it to them, he'll be a bigger factor. I think he's a factor now. I've been telling you that the whole time. You've heard it here. You've never, ever heard, even though I know a lot of you texting me right now want me to say he's got no chance. You're living in a fantasy world. Bill has a chance to win this race. He always has. It's going to come down to money. And look, just like Mike Keogh has a record you can hit. I mean, Bill Eigel, Flat Doug. Let me just give you credit so I don't have to hear about it. 3D Doug slid in a couple amendments once on some right-wing bill that they wanted to do that said ban all sales of farmland to China. And they had to vote on them to get the bill moved. And I think Bill voted against 3D Doug's amendment. So he voted against. I mean, this China thing is all just, if you're dumb enough to bite, someone's dumb enough to put some of that BS on the hook and throw it in the pond. But so, you're going to see Bill. It's like anything. Why are they attacking Keogh? Because he's winning. If I'm wrong and Bill has no momentum, no one will attack him. And when they do attack him, it'll show that he does have momentum. Barry Bean, I'd say all of them, probably all of them would be my guess. Number 3, the delegate thing. Oh, okay. I got a guy. Where's this dude? There's a dude on here. I'm going to pull this. He didn't send this like as the formal thing, but it's Blake Horton. He's a dad, husband, carpenter, and he's a something. I guess he does jujitsu. Wow, it's lots of normal people do that for a hobby. He has tweeted me a bajillion times about this delegate thing. I'll give you my take on the delegate thing, Blake. And I tried to explain this just really poorly to you. I don't know if he was one of the delegates that were going to Milwaukee. Number one, listen to me, Missouri. Whatever side of the delegate fight you're on, Milwaukee sucks. I've been to Milwaukee a couple times. There is nothing to do with Milwaukee. The beer is awful. Missouri, listen to me. Stop at the state line or somewhere and buy you some Hulk Hogan beer. It will be better than that Miller Lite you're going to drink up there. Awful. Just rancid beer. Smart people will stop at the state line and pick up a big case of Anheuser-Busch products and bring them up there. I'm telling you. I mean, imagine what it'd be like, Kelton. You'd be like Jesus when he was handing out loaves and fishes. If you had a cooler full of Bud Light to hand to those poor, thirsty Milwaukeeans that are drinking that piss in a can, Miller Lite. Number one, Milwaukee sucks. So you're missing nothing. Number 2, Sophie goes down there and takes it over. And I admire Sophie. She got a lot of piss and vinegar. She's got a lot of spirit and spunk. I like her. Other people cannot. That's their prerogative. She takes it over. And look, I liked how Ron Fitzwater at the local, he's like, hey, they came, they won. Good for them. Way to go. Fine. That's the way it goes. I mean, you win some, you're not going to bat 1,000. So, and Sophie's crew has got a lot of discontent and people that will text you 10 times in their jiu-jitsu studio. So her coalition will not hang together that long, and it'll be tough. I mean, she's not going and getting a bunch of stable bankers. I mean, she's getting jiu-jitsu professionals here. But so she took it over. Now, I don't know. I didn't read all this shit because I don't care, right? Let's be honest. Let's what we're fighting over. We're fighting over which group of people go to a shitty town in Milwaukee and vote for Trump in an uncontested convention. So if the other group, or if Sophie's group or Nick Myers' group goes to Philadelphia to vote in a convention that's already decided and uncontested, it doesn't matter to anybody in this. This guy was giving me grief for not caring. There's a guy putting pipes together, a pipe fitter somewhere in Columbia today. Do you think that guy gives a damn which group of people go to Milwaukee, a shit town, and vote for Trump?
I'm going to guess no.
Yeah. And so if you wonder why I haven't cared, it's because I don't think it matters to anyone, if you want the truth. I'll tell you this. I think they probably should have let Sophie's do it. That's my opinion. I don't really care. I don't think it's that big a deal. I don't begrudge them for not, because I guess they were jerks and yelling and screaming. So I don't begrudge them for not, but I think they probably should have let Sophie's people go because the only actual vote that happened, she won. And I think it was a technicality. I think they knew what they were doing. I think it was funny. And I think this matters to only the small group of people impacted by who I would say has to drag us to Milwaukee next week. Who would even care? And vote in something that's already a foregone conclusion. There's just nothing there. We're going to have Crystal Quaid on the show, by the way. We're going to talk about that billboard controversy. So if you want my take, number one, Milwaukee sucks. You're missing nothing. Number two, fast forward to how this actually impacts anyone. It doesn't. Number three, I think they should have let the people who want an actual vote go. Because, again, go back to number two, who cares? And Milwaukee sucks. Number five, if you're Sophie Shore and you go in and take this over, right? Your crew, let's just be honest, Sophie, your crew has some inexperienced folks who are very emotional. If you actually are in charge of something, that crew hates everyone for a reason. And whoever's in charge, they're going to find a reason to hate. They just are. If I'm Sophie Shore, and I really talked to her about this, she's got a couple things going on. She's actually running Bill's campaign. So she's got so I guess my take would be, if you're Sophie, this is a great gift. You don't have to run anything. You don't have to go to Milwaukee. You have a cause where you're very sympathetic to most folks. You can keep your group fired up because this is going to piss them off. I think that the state committee emboldened Sophie to take over the state committee by taking her delegates. And that's just my opinion. Now, we'll see how it turns out. So we'll see what happens. But I think that the fallout of this is, number one, Milwaukee sucks. Number two, who cares? It's an uncontested convention. You're going to Milwaukee on your own dime, which sucks. And it just doesn't matter anybody. Trump's going to be the nominee. It doesn't matter if the Kelton Turner slate were to be seated at this convention for Missouri, Kelton's going to up there and say, we give our votes to Donald Trump. And even if you don't, even if Missouri didn't show up, even if no one from Missouri was allowed in that building, Trump would still be nominated and it wouldn't even be a thing. No one would even care. So, number one, Milwaukee sucks. Number two, no one cares. Number three, I personally, I think if I were there, I'd have said, why don't we just let him go? Because Milwaukee sucks and no one cares. But I have no problem. I mean, Sophie plays hardball. The truth is, this is pretty irrelevant to folks. And so I'm trying to read your questions, and I'm doing a real bad job of it, as you can tell. We got to get this polished for election night, Kelton. I'm going to be better at this. The truth is, you're going to see Sophie's crew, which is a little probably hard to manage. Nick, I think he decided, you were such jerks to us. Screw you. This is what we have power. We're going to use it, and we're going to screw you over it. And I don't think they feel bad, and I don't think they care. Now you could be mad at them. Don't be mad at me. I'm not going to Milwaukee. I'm not going to you. If you said, Scott, we'll pay you to go to Milwaukee, I'll be like, are the Cardinals in town? Because if they are not in town, I've never been to Milwaukee when the Cardinals weren't in town. Let me just be very clear with you about that. That stupid Bernie Brewer. Every time he goes down that slide, I'm praying he'll fall off the edge and fall to his death. I hate that Bernie Brewer. Screw that guy. And Miller sucks. That beer is awful. I won't even try that. I'll give my friend Hulk Hogan a chance. I'm not giving Bernie Brewer a chance. Screw him. So, but I think if you're Sophie, this was a gift to you. You should write Nick, dear Nick, I sure appreciate you screwing me out of this. This is going to be great for me. It's going to embolden her. It's going to fire up her troops. And I think she's coming out of this great. Because again, who cares? You don't get to do anything. It's just what it is. But now you got a cause, and Republicans love to be victims. Oh my God. Used to be the Democrats were snowflakes, and not anymore. Flat Doug will tell you, the Republicans love to be victims. And so Sophie has an egregious things she can point to. And I'm telling you, Kelton, you say what you will, but I'm telling you, this is going to work out for her. She should thank Nick for doing this. I'm serious. So anyhow, that's my take on it. Is this will ultimately help her? No one cares. But the most important thing I want you to hear me on, Missouri, you don't care about these delegates. Neither do I. It really makes no difference to anyone. But Milwaukee sucks, and so does Miller Lite. And now every time you watch Bernie Brewer slide on that stupid slide, you're gonna be like, "Come on, Bernie, come on, get off the side." I mean, just fall off that one time. I mean, that'd be like the great, just doing Owen Hart right off that slide. That'd be so dope. Um, so my friend Camille asked me a question, who I absolutely adore. A lot of candidates are putting big pictures of them and Trump on the mail piece. Um, she questions whether that is if that's the move or not. I think it is. I mean, I think the Republicans have bit hard. I think they slavishly love Trump. Trump said he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and his supporters will still support him. I think they support him more. And I think a lot of that is the Democrats and the media and how they've acted. It people they whine so much about Trump that it gets ridiculous. And I just think that Trump derangement syndrome has affected Republicans, no question, but Democrats, and yeah, I do. I actually think whoever loves Trump the most is probably going to win majority of these primaries. If you can come off like Trump and you can prove to everyone that you would cut your own heart out of your chest, still beating and give it to our president. I mean that it is not the Republican Party. It is the party of who loves Trump the most. And I kind of do. I actually think it's a good move to put Trump on everything. I think there's a lot of data to back that up. Now, I do think there's a swash of folks that always vote that probably care about some local issue. But I mean, Trump has taught everyone that everything you do sucks. It'll all be the shits. And so he's the only one that could save anyone. So you might as well grab on and touch the hem of his garment as he passes through town, right? I mean, that's where these people are. I think there's a lot of data to back up putting Trump everywhere all the time. I mean, Kurt Schaefer's running ads saying Onder isn't pro-Trump enough the day after he got endorsed by Trump. The state committee, here you go. I'll give you one more committee. The national committee people, right? Who were endorsed by Trump. They had a letter saying Donald Trump wants us to be there. The people of the Sobeys people said, no, we know who loves Donald Trump more than Donald Trump. And elected people that swore they were more pro-Trump than the pro-Trump endorsed people. So, that's where it is. And I think there's where a lot of folks are. We got time for, let's just do one or two more. Carla Esslinger at MoDOT or at DESE. Look, anything Carla Esslinger does, she is one of the most competent, most intelligent, most savvy people I have ever met in my life. She's on like a Todd Richardson level as far as like an impressive person. When they walk into a room, if Todd Richardson walks into a room, you just know that guy's got it together. Whatever his departments do is probably fine, right? Like if you have 10 departments and Todd's at one of them, you're like, well, we can skip that part because it's probably doing good. Let's focus on one of these other jackoffs. Carl Esslinger is on that level of just, very, very high-end competent. Just anything she touches is going to be outstanding, and you can just know it, right? So, it's DESE's last chance, in my opinion. If the DESE people and the alphabet soup of groups that say they defend kids but really defend corn men, if the Corn Man Defender Alliance, which is all this group of the endless acronyms of people that say they care about kids but don't give a damn about an actual child, if they don't fall in line behind Carla, if the DESE board does, and if all the employees don't, they just kiss it goodbye. I don't know what that'll look like, but it'll look a lot smaller, and its relevancy, people are just so sick of it. People have met their corn man just like I have, and I say burn it down. But with Carl Esslinger there, reasonable people will want to do reasonable things. And Carla is extremely competent, and I really do think she'll anything she touches will go very well. Now, how can you turn the Titanic around over there? Hell if I know. The truth is, it's going to come down to, can they self-evaluate, admit faults, and address problems like Cornman? I mean, look at that. I mean, would you hire that to be a cashier? If you were hiring the cashiers at Casey's, you wouldn't hire that. Good God. So, you know, I think she's got a total shit stack to work with, a bunch of bizarre entitled people. Most of them don't even show up to work. They do that working from home BS. I If anybody could turn around, she can. I would say she could take over anything. And if your money's on, could Carl Esslinger turn around? Well, not if she was mayor of Milwaukee, she's not that talented. It still would suck. If she was the head of Miller Brewing, she would turn it around because I think she would close it, right? She would save everyone that piss water and just stop making it, because that's how smart Carl Esslinger is. So we'll see, man. I to answer your question, man, I don't know. I think if anybody can, this is she can. I think this is their last chance, and if they don't realize it, talk to anybody. You could talk to folks. Start naming me your Rick Francis, your pro education people, right? Yeah, even they're just fed up with it. The silly standardized tests and the goofy paperwork. It just the no accountability to anyone. The support of Cornman, the letting these alphabet soup of groups put people like Cornman on list and watching them all like coalesce and defend him. I mean, I'd say the other person in education that I think could be helpful, and they disagree a little bit, which I think is actually a good thing, is Mike Lodewagen. Lodewagen, whatever you want to think of Lodewagen, came by the Kevin English School, right? So the guy's going to be good. Lodewagen's sharp, and he's effective, and he's a knife fighter. And there's going to be tension in between administrators and DESE and that. And you could think what you want about Massa, but Lodewagen's a very talented guy. If I was a charter people, I always told people, the school people, when I was friends with a lot of the school people, I was like, I'd hire Kate Casas. That's what I'd do. I would pull your money together and pay her whatever it takes to hire Kate Casas. That's what I would do if I were you. And I still would say that to them. And if I were on the charter side, I'd go hire Mike Lodewagen. I would take the biggest gun off the field, and that's what I'd go do. Mike is that good. Whether you like him or you don't or whatever, Mike, you're going to respect him because Mike's good. And if you don't, it says more about you. So, I do want to. All right, Missouri. Before we go here, again tonight down at the lake. If you're down at Camden on the Lake around 4-ish, shoot me a text. I'll maybe 4:30. The MOAG thing starts. If you've lost a bet or something and you have to hear me give a speech, I'm gonna give a little talk. We're gonna talk about agriculture in Kelton. Kelton, are we too nice in rural Missouri? I think we might be.
I think we're just too nice.
I think we might be too nice. We're gonna talk about that this evening. If you come to town, you come to the Courtyard by Marriott. That's where MOAG should have their next meeting. The winter meeting should be at the Courtyard by Marriott. I'll mention that to them tonight. And want to thank folks at the Great Northwest at United Fiber. Kelton, guess who's going to be the sponsor for our election night show?
I have no clue who could it be.
Our friends at United Fiber. So if you're driving around Missouri right now, I'm gonna show some cool stuff to you. I saw this. I was at the AGC yesterday. Look at this. Construction industry for Kehoe, and it's got hard hat stickers, so you can put on your hard hat. I'm gonna put that on my honorary lineman thing here in a minute. Don't want to do it now because I'm fairly screwed up. But look at this, the construction industry for Kehoe. That's pretty cool. AGC had those. I guess the American Dream Pack had them, but they were at the AGC. Then you could put this on your helmet, like if you're a firefighter, you can smack that up there. That's pretty cool, I think. That's kind of neat stuff. Then I'm going to show you again. If you're driving, pull off the side of the road, or just put your phone down. If you're watching this, if you're watching this in your office, this is not safe for work. I'm going to show you something, and trust me, I know I wouldn't do this if it was 12:30, but most of you haven't eaten lunch yet. The Rod Jett and Dean Plocker logo is as bad as you thought. Don't adjust your screen, Missouri. Don't change the brightness rate. This is as ugly as it was yesterday. I even had a text yesterday. from one of the classiest women I personally know. I absolutely think that Rebecca Plucker walks on water. And she agreed with the rest of Missouri. This logo is just disgusting. It's so bad. Like Rob Schaff was funny, but really Rob Schaff was so unfunny. He went all the way around the world to me to funny. Like he came to funny from the backside. You know what I mean? It was like he would say jokes that were so unfunny, and he'd be so proud of them that you would laugh because it was just so unfunny. And he was just thinking the laugh line was there. And there was no laugh line until you realized he was waiting for you to laugh at this unfunny joke. This is so bad. It goes around the world, but I think it's so bad it laps good and goes all the way back to bad. It does a full, Kelton, is it 360 turn? What's another 180 on top of that?
That's 360.
I think that's like a 440. It does a 440. It's bad. I mean, obviously it's bad. It goes all the way around the world, but it doesn't stop at good. It goes right past good again and comes back to bad. It doesn't pull a 180. It doesn't pull a 360. It pulls a 440. The worst logo I've ever seen. Look at that. I'm a happy conservative warrior. I mean, oh my God. Thank you, Rebecca, for agreeing with Missouri that this logo is bad. I mean, but it's so bad, we got to put it in here. I was going to put it on Flat Doug's lapel pin, but I'm afraid he'd come off that wall and smack me. And Doug, I'm going to tell you, listen to me, Missouri. If you come to the Capitol and say the court by Mary, you come over. When you shake Doug Beck's hand, it's like you're shaking the hand of a guy who's actually done a little bit with his life, right? You are not shaking. I saw Will Sharp yesterday. Good dude. Hand is not particularly coarse, let's just say, right? He's almost got the texture of a Harvard lawyer. Doug Beck's, when you shake his hand, that guy's done some stuff with those hands, right? I would put this on his lapel because that's where it would stand out, right, Kelton? But I'm afraid he'd come off that wall and smack me, so I don't want to do that. We're gonna find a place to put this ghastly looking logo. Until then, why don't we just go right there? One last question: 340B. Yeah, I think the governor may veto a 340B. I think he may. I think that you have like how many bills he did 3 or 4 yesterday. He's got 4. I don't think it's on today's signing. I guess what does he have until Sunday or Monday to do these?
I think he has until Monday.
Okay. My gut would tell me if he's going to veto it, he'll veto it tomorrow in the afternoon. But you know, could sign it. Oh, this other thing. Speaking of Kehoe stuff, look at this. This is the sticker that Ashcroft's people are wanting folks to put on the gas pumps, and they'll say they're not, but they totally are, which I would if I was them. It says I did that. It's like the Joe Biden thing, but it's Kehoe about the price going up. That was kind of clever. But 340B, I think it's tight. I think a lot of things could still influence it. And if I had to guess right or die, I think he vetoes it. But I don't know if he even knows yet. I don't know if they've come to a decision on where they are with it. I can tell you this: they shouldn't have ticked off Tommy Robbins, and that was a mistake. Whoever thought that was a move, that was a bad guy. Whatever happened there, it did not help the cause of the people that were on this trying to help their cause. That was a questionable decision. But whether it gets vetoed, I would honestly, I don't follow that closely enough to give you like a blow by blow of who's where in the governor's office and what they think. I just don't know. I haven't followed it that closely, but I can tell you there is people in the governor's office that think he should veto it. I think there's some folks that think he should sign it. It is probably the thing they're debating the most, and then maybe the governor's come to a decision, and he just hasn't put it out yet. And if he has, I don't know it. But I would say that one, he may know now, but I could have seen him going into last weekend truly not knowing what he was going to do and still wanting some information and talk to people. And then he probably does know by now where he's going to do. I don't know what his inner thoughts were, what his inner circle thinks about it. I do know some of the folks in their circle have said to interested parties who've relayed to me where they are on it, and some influential people in that office have some reservations about it. It was vetoed by the governor of Virginia. There's some pro-life arguments. There's some illegal immigration arguments. I have no idea their validity. None. Usually when you start trying to make abortion about stuff that's not abortion, I roll my eyes because it's usually just BS. But they could be right about this. Funding of healthcare is so complicated. I'm not your expert. If I had to guess right or die, I'm going to go, it's not a stunning knowledge prediction because I don't actually know, but I'd say he might veto that. And we'll see. I think my instinct would say if he's going to veto it, he probably vetoes it tomorrow or late today and just doesn't come in tomorrow, or he vetoes it tomorrow and hops out down wherever he's going to head ball or wherever. But I don't know. We'll see. It'd be interesting to me to see what all he does. Kelton F-150 tour. Going to go to the lake. It could be very fun times. If you're on the F-150 tour, come out, visit with us. We have a good time, I promise. We always have a lot of fun. I love the F-150 tour. It's one of my favorite things that I do. And we'll be heading down to the MOAG conference later this afternoon. Going to tape the show. Crystal Quaid's coming on. I follow the Brad. I'm a big listener to the Brad and John show. They have unearthed a controversy, right? And the controversy is there's a billboard up by the airport in St. Louis on 170, and it is not the best billboard, I'll say. It's got a picture of Crystal, and she's very pleasant looking, so that's a good thing. I don't know, Combat's got in trouble for saying this. I don't even know if you can say that, but my opinion is she has a very pleasant photo. It's the type of photo if someone sees, they're going to be inclined to vote for someone that looks like that. I guess that if I PC it enough.
I think that's good for TV.
Okay, good. Yeah, we tried. But I do think that and then it says like vote for Crystal, but they misspelled Crystal, which I am no one to judge poor spelling. Like, I am not looking down on whoever made that billboard for poor spelling, but come on, man. You really can't, come on, man. You can't really misspell the candidate's name. You know what I'm saying? And Brad Hildebrand, it was funny. Brad took the picture of it. He didn't even know. They're on the air. And John is the one that saw, because John that can proofread, like, dude, I don't ever want John proofreading my stuff. John Combest can catch a proofreading error at like 70 yards like a sniper. That dude, he knows, and don't question him. Like, Missouri, let me give you a piece of advice. Come in here, Missouri. Let me just tell you something. If you write something and John Combest corrects it, don't argue. He's right. You're wrong. Trust me. Just, Missouri, listen to me. If John corrects you, number one, thank him publicly for the edit, because it is nice, because nobody wants to have their stuff wrong. Ideally, you want it all to be good. So if somebody comes along and points out a mistake where you're wrong, thank the guy and acknowledge him. And that's just common. That's just how folks do things. But two, don't argue because you're wrong. Trust me, I have never seen John. I've seen John proofread hundreds of stories publicly. I've never seen him be wrong. So I don't even question him. If he says something I'm doing wrong, it's wrong. I fix it. And I thank him.
My worst fear as a reporter is to get proofread by John Combest.
Yes, it is not great. But, here's the thing. Take it in stride, man. Don't act like you're, I would tell a reporter, if you're a young reporter and you're doing something, and John, who is a very influential person, as in my opinion, the most influential news aggregator in this state, if he were to tell you that this grammar is wrong, maybe you don't know him. So you go check and you find out. Don't argue with him unless you're locked in, unless you have talked. What's that book Caitlin used to have? Something about like if the AP style guide editor tells you you're right and he's wrong, man, just soft pedal that. Just thank him privately and move on, because he's probably right. He is right and you're wrong. So don't argue. But John proofread this billboard. It was hilarious. There's no T in Crystal. And that's just funny. And I think people, though, I have a high regard for Crystal. She's our guest this week on This Week in Missouri Politics. But it is funny that she has a billboard with a misspelled name. That's we're going to talk about that a little bit when I interview. That's just funny. And here's the thing. I'll close with this. I'm going to ask her this. Kelton, do Democrats frequently say that the rules of this country are broken on a daily basis for the sole benefit of white, heterosexual, Christian men who have money. Do they say that every day?
That sounds right.
So in this election for governor, Democrats, you have a woman who's earned it 8 years, 6 of them with the most thankless job in state government. The House Minority Leader is the hardest, most thankless job. And you have a rich, heterosexual, Christian, white guy who's rich off he didn't even make the money. His dad made the money. And you have broken the rules to let a person that voted in Chicago 4 years ago, who has sworn he lived in Missouri for the last 10 years, run. If you elect him, please, Missouri Democrats, all 12 of you, do not ever tell me about privilege again. Take your privilege and shove it, because no one is going to want to hear it. If you do break the rules to disadvantage her, please, Missouri Democrats, please, I don't care if you're sitting in a Hardee's in Springfield, do not ever, 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 ever tell me about how the rules are bent for straight, white, heterosexual Christian males who are rich again, because the greatest example in Missouri political history, modern Missouri political history, is you. There is a problem, and you look at it every morning in the mirror. You're the problem, not me, not Kelton. Hell, Cornman, you're still a problem. But it ain't Truman the Tiger. It ain't. It is you. It is you. You. The problem is you. So in a way, I almost hope she loses, because it's going to be such great fun to every time someone on the show tries to play that. My camera, oh, my camera, my camera. Actually, the rules are broken frequently for people of that demographic, and you did it. You did it. So it's going to be fun to sit back and to watch the next 4 weeks unveil. Kelton, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to bring these three days a week. We went a long surprise on that. We'll do a Q&A. We'll bring some people interview. I love the Mike Carter interview. Thank you for your feedback on that. Mike Carter's a cool dude, man. I like the hell out of Mike Carter. He's just a fun guy, man. I really think, Kelton, he was sitting there, and if he would have said, I really believe when he says, well, we're going to try to win, but if we don't, that's okay. I think he actually believes that. Now, do you think Dean Plotkin believes that? No, he's out there spitting blood trying to win. And Mike is just a cool man. He's just a cool guy. I like that dude. So thank you all very much for listening. End of the day, we'll recap, Kelton. If you think Joe Biden's a doctor, then you should think Jay Ashcroft's an engineer. That's just a fact. It's a loose interpretation of the definition. And technically they are, but in reality, iffy, right? Kehoe is going to put out a ridiculous campaign ethics report full of $2,800 checks, maybe the most max checks it's ever been on a report. It's going to be, people are going to study this, Kelton. They're going to study the second quarter Kehoe campaign report for an exercise in hard work and a very organized campaign. If you go to the old school Baptist, the third thing, if you go to the old school Baptist church in the community, then you're probably voting with Ashcroft. If you go to the evangelical kind of crazy speaking in tongues church, probably voting for Eigel. If you're Catholic, probably vote for Kehoe. And then it's, undecided after that. Who can pick whose pocket? Right now in the Spider-Man game, number 4, Eigel's winning the Spider-Man game because he's telling Jay, you attack him, and I'll promote myself. So the winner of the Spider-Man game so far is Bill Eigel, or as my son would call it, Spider-Man game. Happy birthday to my daughter yesterday, Amelia, the absolute best. On the delegate thing, number 6 takeaway, Milwaukee sucks. No one cares. This probably helps Sophie, and Milwaukee sucks. So if you're Sophie, I don't have to go to Milwaukee, which sucks. I can claim victim status. That's very good in the Republican Party. Essentially the Republican Party is who can be the biggest victim anymore. And 3, it keeps her crew, which is pretty hard to keep happy because they're a little nuts. It keeps them from having to be in charge of anything. Because I'm telling you, this will be the thing. When Sophie, I think, probably does take this party over at some point, and Bill Eigel will see this too if he happens to win this governor's race, all the crazies are going to turn on you, man. I mean, the crazies are crazy because they're always pissed at everything. So when confronted with reality, they just get more pissed. So it'll be, I think they did her a favor, if you want the truth. Again, because Milwaukee sucks, and I think it helps her. Camellia, I actually kind of agree with the folks putting Trump on everything. They put Jesus on everything at church, right? The Republicans love Trump more than Jesus. That's very accurate. So I'd probably put Trump on everything. I mean, if the Catholic Church puts crosses on everything for Jesus because they want to co-brand there, Republicans love Trump more than Jesus. So I see the co-branding. I mean, a lot of churches out there that even make a lot of money, as that Olstein guy. Carl Esslinger, if anybody can do it, she can. I don't know if she can or not. The truth is, it's the best thing possible. The governor and Charlie Shields, it was the right thing to do because give the most competent person the keys. And if they don't fall in line, you demolish it and you move on and you try something different. I don't know if it'll be better or worse. Try something different. If Carla can't fix it, bulldoze it. Honestly, I think if you talk to people in and around government, even the ones that are supportive of public education or anti-charter schools, whatever you want to say, I mean, the charter school people would be definitely afraid of you demolishing it because it's the best punching bag they've ever had. If Carla can't fix it, blow it up, just get rid of it, right? I think that's probably where most people are. The question will be, is that alphabet soup of cornmen defenders and the DESE establishment people, did they realize where they are? Because if they don't, it's almost like, I'll close with this. It's almost like if you don't understand where you are at DESE, it's almost like you're the director of insurance today. And you've had, Kelton, do you know what the director of insurance reminds me of? We're going to, I think, talking a lot about the director of insurance, probably starting next week. The director of insurance reminds me of this old story, Kelton, and we'll close with this. You ever seen a guy, there was a flood coming, and he hears about it on TV, right? Oh, flood coming to his house. Let's say your house is in Georgia, hypothetically speaking, obviously. I'm sure she lives in Missouri, but let's say hypothetically your house is in Georgia, right? I don't think she lives in Georgia, right? You know that. I don't think that. All the directors live here, right? And they come to work here every day. And
I would hope so.
I don't think she lives in. Don't look, Missouri. Don't read in that I think she might live in Georgia. Don't read that into that. Okay, Kelton, did you read that into that? Did you? Now, damn it, did you?
I did not. No.
Okay, because I'm worried you read in that I think she lives in Georgia. I pulled that out of a hat. I meant the country of Georgia, over by Russia somewhere. So Missouri, don't think that I suspect she lives in Georgia. Because I just want you to be clear. I don't think she lives in Georgia. Kelton, do you understand that?
100%.
Do you think she lives in Georgia?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. I was worried you thought she did. So let's hypothetically say there's someone in Georgia. And their job title rhymes with insurance. And she sees on TV out of Atlanta. Probably not Fox News. Probably not watching Fox News. Probably husband ain't watching Fox News. We both know that, don't we? Probably husband ain't watching Fox News, are they? You know what I'm talking about. One of you knows who is going to watch this clip because it's going to be sent to you knows. Not watching Fox News in that house in Georgia, are we? Not that she lives in Georgia. Then you see it's going to flood, and you're like, oh, it's cool. It's not going to flood. So then someone sends you a message, like it starts to flood a little bit, and so you get your weather alert radio out. And I'm not going to, could be WSB, right, in Atlanta. I'm not saying that they live there, but hypothetically, in this hypothetical world with this person that doesn't live in Georgia and whose husband does probably watch Fox News, even though we know you don't. And then you get a radio broadcast on WSB saying it's a flood, evacuate. And then let's say a person from the Georgia Highway Patrol, not that you live in Georgia, but the Georgia, hypothetically, Highway Patrol comes by, knocks on and says, it's time to evacuate. You got to evacuate. And then you still say, no, I don't, I'm good. God will protect me, right? Or the hypothetical, John Rehagen will protect me, maybe. That's what I'm thinking, right? He's going to come by. So you ignore the not Fox News TV broadcast, right, Kelton?
Not Fox
Rehagen
News.
will protect me. Then you ignore the WSB, hypothetically, radio broadcast, right? Rehagen will protect me, right, Kelton?
That sounds correct.
Then the Georgia Highway Patrol comes by and says, "You gotta get out of here, man." And you're like, John Rehagen will protect me. Then you see the water start to come, right? So you get up on your roof. And then let's just say the Georgia Water Patrol comes by in one of them little rubber boats and says, "You got to get in this boat and get out of here." And you think, "No, John Rehagen will protect me." Then you're sitting on top of the roof now because the water has reached that high. And a helicopter comes over, right? From the state, the Georgia Emergency Management Department, hypothetically speaking, and drops you a rope and says, "Grab onto this rope, I'll save you." And you say, "No, John Rehagen will protect me." Well, you're at the pearly gates because while I guess the Georgia section of heaven, because you would have, not that you would have been there, just hypothetically, that's where you would have passed because you drowned. And you look and she's baffled. It's like she would be baffled. She's been sent all these messages, state laws. Sorry, weather broadcast, budget cuts. I mean, people coming in offering. She's seen hillbillies come by and give warning. And she's like, "I can't believe I drowned." And I think the Lord's going to look at her and say, "I sent you all these messages. I sent you a TV report. I sent you a state law boxing you in. I sent you a weather report. I sent you a budget cut. I sent you a helicopter and a boat and a hillbilly, and you never got the message. I tried to save you. You just wouldn't save you." So, Kelton, I think the moral of the story is I'm going to the lake to talk to my friends at the MOAG conference. But boy, next week, I think we might have to start talking about Director Cora Lindley Myers.
I'll clear my schedule.
All right. Until then, you can go to CoraLindleyMyers.com and read up on, well, just, you know what? Don't. Just come back Monday. We'll see you.